Hey everyone, it's Craig, aka Mr. Impact blog from the TNAW channel. Welcome to this this latest episode of What Went Down on Impact Wrestling. As you can see, I'm once again joined by the co-host of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast, Jeff.
Hey everybody, another exciting week.
It certainly was.
And as much as enthusiasm you'll get out of me today.
Yeah,
Stayed up too late watching Talking Shop with me.
same. I think 4 a.m. was late when I actually got some sleep.
Yeah,
So I'm out of
late
it.
too. Yeah. Need to be a need.
Yes. It's definitely something I've got to had drinks for.
Yeah, right.
So let's get straight into what happened on Impact.
Right.
Started off with, to me, a surprising match because it was on first.
Right.
The World Championship, Eddie Edwards versus Trey, with EY coming in at the end.
Yeah, that little segment.
Mm,
As far as the opening, I praised it last week because we didn't go to the what happened last week thing. But they did it this week. But I think they made up for it quickly by going right into the heavyweight title match or world title match. I know I saw a lot of people online say, well, I gave it away if it's first. Well, did it really? Because in this era, if a match happens first, could the whole show be written about the change in world title? Yes. Was it going to happen first? No. But it could, because it's pre-taped yet live, no one knows what's going to happen. So the illusion is there, but the practicality is not. I thought it was a good little match. Keeps making Trey look like he's credible. I'm not a big fan, still not a big fan of the Boston Meat Party. But other than that, I thought it was a good match. The EY thing, if we're bunching that in, it felt a lot like what Deonna did with Jordynne Grace a couple weeks back, just coming out and, oh no, we're not going to. So it seems similar. But had you not watched that and you just watched the segment for what it is, which is what we're supposed to do, I thought it was a thumbs up, a good match, a good way to show Eddie as a fighting champion that's not, a top. Well, he's a top guy, but not a, what is that called? A one-sided champion where he's dominating all the competition.
Yeah.
It's more combative, which I like.
Right. I mean, I didn't really believe that Trey was going to win the world title anyway. So the result, I felt like I already knew what was going to happen because there's no way Eddie was going to drop the title this soon to his first challenger.
Yeah.
It just happened, especially not to Eddie. He's been a loyal to Impact, and I just do him dirty.
Oh, as far as him losing it so quickly. Okay.
Yeah. Do the dirty, and there's no need for that. And yeah, I like Trey. I don't personally see him really being world champion in Impact at all. I can see X Division. No, I just can't see it. X Division, it could be a top guy in X Division.
Yeah.
Full title, not for me. So, and with EY, it was not really much happened. So, but match and a little bit afterwards, it's a thumbs up.
Gave thumbs up. Yeah, it was a nice little segment. I mean, what do you do? I mean, you have to have, if he's going to be a fighting champion, you need to feed someone to him. I disagree with you in the sense with Trey. Just because he's so young, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that if he goes to the X Division, is a champion in the X Division, is dominant in the X Division, and they package him right, he can step up. I don't like them pushing the comparison of him and AJ. I don't feel that's. I liked it better with him and with AJ and Ace. I think that's more fitting. So I think it's really on Impact creative and management to make this guy viable. But I don't think that was the point, and that's something we could talk about further down the road. But as far as what went down in this episode, good match, good little EY teaser, which I'm actually really enjoying. him versus Eddie for some reason, which I didn't think I would.
Yeah, when those two finally get a match, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
So then, my favorite segment, Wrestle House, debuted this week. I loved that segment. Every part, it's everything.
So are we going to be doing Wrestle House as a whole, or do you want to do it as it showed?
Let's do it as a whole.
As a whole.
So then,
okay.
Yes, go back and forth.
So as a whole, double thumbs up. That's not going to change. I think it's another ingenious, very creative idea, as I mentioned last week, of them trying to find something to do with all of these people without having them to have to wrestle or get an argument backstage every week. So very creative, outside of the box thinking. I really love the 90s look and the lightning bolts. It seems very similar to something that we've been doing for 6 months. It's like someone watches our show. Yeah, well, I know who it is. But they could take anything they want. We wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for them. And honestly, the lightning bolts blinking like we use it in the 90s, it just fits that environment. So I would like it either way, even if I was, not, I won't say flattered because that says that they took it from us, but I would say not that I was just happy that, it's something that ties into our show, or as far as the podcast. But as a whole, I just like that aesthetic for what they're trying to do. Especially with Johnny Swinger being there and it being more colorful. And there's a lot of great characters there that deserve that kind of that rub and shine. Alicia is MVP of that so far for me. Just because she's coming out of her shell, or at least they're letting her come out of her shell, and presenting a very, what I think could work for her, a bright, I love the new gear. I think it works for her. The hair, it just, it's very fitting that this is her launching pad for me, at least, even though she's been there for 3 years or whatever it's been.
Right. I mean, yeah, for me, that everything about those segments, it's perfect. It's what you expect from that type of thing. And with the addition of Tommy Dreamer, it's incredible. I can't really put more words into it than it was fantastic. Agree, Lish really shone through on that completely. Just I can't really talk. I love that segment.
Yeah, it's hard not to just laugh and smile when you talk about it. Now, could you say on the devil's advocate side that, and that's why I asked as a whole, because as a whole, I would watch that as its own show. If it was on Impact Plus, I would be watching it weekly. It's going to be on Impact on Access. I'm going to watch it weekly regardless. But because it's so, I know they're trying to push it along so they can get to I'm sure there's more juicy stuff coming up. But because there's so much content, that's the only thing I would be not nervous about, but I would be cautious about, is too much too soon or too much on one show. Because then what you're getting is some people that say, hey, I like the variety show that is Impact Wrestling. I love this little segment. But when it becomes a third of the programming, and you really can't count those matches as matches, unfortunately. Although I love, the look of it and what they're doing with it. It makes a lot of sense. You're going to get that fan that uses that as a point of contention, contention. As long as they're cautious with it and they don't force it, I think it's great either way. It's different. It gets people talking, just like Talking Shopomania, like it or not. It's something interesting. It's different.
Agree. It's obviously a thumbs up because.
Oh yeah.
I love the variety of the people in there. I love the stuff that they've been doing. The comedy is spot on.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of Talking Shop, I think that the ring they used in Wrestle House is the same ring that was used on Talking Shop.
I think so. I know we didn't get to see inside Gallows' house, but I would imagine it looks pretty similar to what they're using on Talking Shop.
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But no, yeah, you're right, man. And that's the key. I don't want to go too much on it, but the key to it is bringing those cast of characters and making them somehow gel and work and tell a story. And they're really doing that. Crazy Steve is a really cool point of continuity there because he has so much. Now he's doing the thing with Johnny Swinger. Johnny Swinger is Johnny Swinger, and he has a tiger, and he's Tiger King or whatever the hell is going on. So there's all these things they're doing. Susie even. Yeah, now we love Susie, but all we see of her is that's bad,
Yeah.
But on this, not only is she getting a little more quirky and different things she can do, but she's also utilizing that bad in different comedic ways. It's just good timing, good execution, nice little pop for Abyss there.
Yes.
Usable footage, but I'm excited to see where it goes, and it's very pleasing on the eyes as far as looks, and it's very fun as far as character development. So I don't see why there would be a thumbs down.
Exactly. And also the No Way Jose line gave me a little bit of a pop as well.
Yes. What gave me a pop on that specifically was because when that EC3, I don't want to say rip off, the EC3, that's MJF's job. What was it, like kind of basing off of his videos? So No Way Jose did right before Slammiversary. I don't know if you saw that. Basically, he made it seem like he was part of EC3's Control Your Narrative thing. Now, maybe he is. I don't know. But he had a new look, and he's like, my name is this, and he's watching the EC3 video. So I was like, did they sign No Way Jose? Which, once again, give Impact Management Creative the benefit of the doubt, because look what they did with Johnny Swinger. One of the best hires they've had, and I shit on it as soon as they announced it. So I give them a benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, the video wasn't the same quality as EC3. They had a lot of good characters already coming in, so I was kind of nervous. So to hear that line was like them saying, like, no, we didn't sign him. Good try, but we didn't. And one more pop thing. It was I'm going to lose it. What did he say? That's going to bother me. No Way Jose. Oh, the On First TV thing.
Pretty Steve. Yeah.
Which was obviously Tommy Dreamer and him was on a wink, I imagine, to everything another company is doing right now. But
who knows?
Who knows? But good stuff.
Yeah, agreed. So then a little segment backstage with Rohit Raju, TJP, followed by and Chris Bay. Yeah, it's a thumbs up from me, because if it leads to a TJP and Chris Bay match, I'm happy.
Yeah, it's once again utilizing people, and we talked about that with Rohit, that I think Chris Bay and Rohit as kind of a lackey really fits, because it's a new development on that character of Rohit, who is angry guy in Desi Hit Club or Desi Hit Squad. Then he was cocky guy in Desi Hit Squad. Now he actually has a kind of a development in his character where he's trying to latch on to someone who's above it. It's just a cool idea for him. I thought the segment was done really well. The timing on it was funny. The only issue I had, once again, is the timing of the placement, because we just got Wrestle House, a lot of jokes and a lot of humor, and then we go here to more humor. Luckily, it was done well. It sets up a cool match. It develops the gimmick of Rohit and Chris Bay, I think. And at the same time, does something that we think should happen, since Falaba and TJP maybe won't be at the top of the food chain when it comes to tag teams anymore. Get TJ a little more involved with the X Division. So, great job all around.
Yeah, not much else we can say on that. Did the job. So
we talk long.
Then a little backstage interview with Mean Gia Miller, who had Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Just a little get those two over.
Yeah, just a little
Uh,
promo, so we won't spend too much time on that. I'll just say the one
uh,
thing that I want to say about it is I love the pairing of them. Uh, I think they have what it takes to be two main eventers in Impact in time. It's booked right. I like that they're working with Anderson Gallows. Uh, but to me, it is weird, once again, when the production goes from Wrestle House cinematic, screening to then other backstage segments that have that weird filter on it, and then these segments that feel like old TNA where they interview. It's just a very they need to work. They need to work on telling a story through their editing, in the sense of from a filmmaker's perspective, to transition to the different worlds and realms. There needs to be something transition a little bit better, but it served its purpose. Thumbs up. You got
yeah,
them on the show. They got to talk.
yeah,
But that's the only
that's
thing I would look out for.
what we needed. And
Do you know
then,
what I mean? Before we skip ahead, do you like the how it goes from?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But also, just a quick caveat to that: the filming of that backstage interview reminded me of a TNA style thing. I like that. I did.
I missed that.
It's zoomed in and out, and just kept focusing on the way he needs to focus on. A little bit of this TV in the background. Yeah, I thought that was brilliant. Then a little Motor City Machine Guns promo package to hype them up being back and hype them for being tag team champions again. I love the Rain promos.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Sort of. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. On the surface, you could say, well, they didn't use them this week, so it's a good way to keep them in everyone's mind and keep them hyped up, which I agree with, without having to defend the title or be there live in person. But from a different point of view, for someone who's watched it since day one, I realize more and more, not how old I'm getting, but how long in the game I've been. We'll say that. So when I talk to other people and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm not familiar with that person," and it's a relatively common person to my knowledge, it tells me that there's a new group of viewers that are either just younger and didn't get it till later, like yourself, even though you know a lot more because you are a historian of it, or if you want to call it that. Um, but there's that casual fan who doesn't know Motor City Machine Guns was there, or that they feuded with Beer Money or Team 3D or any of the things they've done before, or that they didn't hold the belts for, or they tag team for 5 years or something like that before they held the belts. Um, so there was a lot of story to tell there. It was a good, quick catch up for people who watch weekly, and it was a great catch up for people who haven't watched in a while or don't know the past of TNA.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, agreed. Thumbs up. It's good enough, and we got to see the Beer Money and Machine Guns match where they won their first tag team titles. So yeah, did did the job, hype them up still.
interesting show on that too, by the way. A lot of Beer Money in that.
Yeah. So then again, a quick segment with the North. Ethan Page is no longer all ego, or still all ego, but feeling down. Josh got to prove that he can cut a good promo. So yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah, no, you said everything I would say here. Because even though it's another promo, what it did was continue the development of the North. I said it last week, and I'll continue to say it. The North never got stale for me. I could watch them beat up tag teams and have matches all the time.
Right.
But to continue their development, to continue their story arc, and give them something to work with, it makes them maybe better to change them up a little bit. And him coming and being sad about losing his possession that he was so cocky about is really nicely done. It gave Josh a time to shine and talk. And it played off the fragile ego that they're portraying Ethan really has, which I think is huge. Because it gives him something to go on. And then long term, what it shows me is that they want to keep the North around and maybe eventually they could separate as Beer Money has and done as well. Because I think they're that level. So.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily could both be world champions.
Yes,
No
I
doubt.
agree.
Then, was very small, but just to build up to the bigger segment later on. Katie Forbes runs in Sami Callihan. Just to tease something for later on.
Yeah. I think we could talk about it as a whole.
Yeah, just
get down
for the continuity purposes.
Yeah.
Then EC3 cuts a new promo where he says he wants to go back and destroy his past. I'm assuming starting with Moose.
So yeah. I know we are a review show, so I'm not going to get into the future because there's some things about that promo and some news that came out this week of him being able to wrestle for other companies that kind of alarmed me. As far as this show, this segment, this promo, the usage of the TNA lore and his history there, the usage of his music and saying trouble. The guy is just on a different level when it comes to promos. He just knows what he's doing. He knows who he is now. And he's doing a great job of continuing his narrative of what he's trying to control there and create. So a great continuation. There we go. Jesus, tired. Of his character development. And that's all you can really ask. What is he going to do? Where's it going to end up? We still don't know. Do eventually these need to become more informational? Probably.
So, yeah.
Right now, I'm cool just watching and enjoying the master at work with his craft. It's just amazing. Different level stuff.
Precisely. You have been warned.
Yes. August 1st warning.
No.
So
then, another interview backstage, this time with Moose, who's interrupted by Heath, who has a TNA title shot for next week.
Once again, something that backstage interview. So it is getting redundant at this point, and even if this was a gold, platinum backstage interview, like top of the line, it still would have been felt kind of dragged on just because we've had 4 segments of backstage stuff in a row. I'm okay with it from a storytelling purpose. I think Moose, who he's becoming, is exactly who he should be. I like that. I like Heath playing the character that's just trying to get a shot. I think to get his feet wet, he needs to kind of still be part of that WWE character, as I mentioned before. And then he could do whatever once he finally turns or changes or shows who he really is.
Great.
It was a nice little thing for Scott to pop up and be more authority figure again, which I like, without being authority figure. So I'm all about it. Do I think Heath wins? Hell no. Which then continues his story as well, which gets interesting from there, I think. Because interesting that EC3 went after Moose. Heath is now going after Moose.
Yeah.
I don't know, something there. But I'm all for it. Excited to see where it goes. Thumbs up.
Yeah, pretty much same views as you. I think, but I don't think I can see Heath winning. But I think Scott D'Amore will do his thing where he walks into the ring and signs him on the spot, like he has done with Larry D and AC. I think
so?
Heath showed enough heart, and Scott decided to sign him anyway. I think I can see that happening.
Okay. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that. I hope not, just because I want him to have a heelish turn there. I think to make him legitimate, he can't be a face at first, at least, because you have you have to wash that 3MB Heath Slater WWE stuff away before you can build him back up. I think is something different. But I agree with you. I don't think he's going to win. I could see that. I think that's clever.
Yeah.
Where it leads, I don't know. So I'm still interested. So I guess that's a thumbs up.
Yeah. I just don't want it to be, because obviously with WWE, when SmackDown first came about and went SmackDown Live, obviously he was free agent then, and Rhino came along, and then he got signed after winning the tag titles. I don't want to do the same thing.
No, I don't
have him. Yeah. Then the knockouts champion in a non-title match versus Deonna Purrazzo versus Kimberly.
Do you want to?
Yeah, it's a good match. I like them both. I think Kimberly, with a bit more build, I think she can definitely challenge for the title. And yeah, Deonna, fantastic technical ability. Again, going for the arm, not just going straight for the Fujiwara armbar, just working it. Yeah, great match, and yeah. Sums it up. Yeah.
I was nervous at first after last week's sucker punch, as they called it, as being a quick build for what I thought would be a squash match. I'm a fan of Kimberly. I liked her for years prior. I mentioned before she did a intro for our old podcast. Cool dude. Great wrestler. And I was nervous that they're not going to give her the shine because there are so many prevalent characters that came in with this last crop of knockouts. From Nevaeh already having the pairing with Havoc, to obviously Deonna having the monster push. Everyone seemed to Kylie, all the people in between and around her signing have been given a great opportunity, and she kind of, like they say on commentary, which they've done a great job of mentioning, has not been put to the wayside, but kind of lost in the shuffle of pretty big damn signing. She was the first female heavyweight champion of on the Indies in Chikara specifically. So she had a lot of buzz prior to going to NXT. She's not just, I hate that, Wentz's wife. She's a lot more. And if given the right character and creating her in a way that makes sense, I don't know if she fits in with the Rascals per se, but once they develop her character, I think she could be a Knockouts champion. In 7.5 minutes or whatever the match was, it was not a squash by any means. They told a story in there that showed that Kimberly had a fighting chance. She came out swinging, which usually means it's going to be a squash. That scared me. But they gave her some shine. And, if I was a casual fan, I would say, well, Deonna carried her. She's technically a sound and a wonderful wrestler, and she worked the arm instead of just going for the armbar, which I completely agree. But if you know Kimberly, you know she can hold her own. And she was just as much in that match as Deonna. So I'm excited to see where they go. I'm glad it wasn't a squash. I love the fact that a little punch backstage resulted in a non-championship match.
Right.
Because traditionally you'd be like, oh, let's give them a title match. And then it's rushed. She loses. That's her first title shot. God, So I loved how they did it. I love that they gave her the shine. I could watch them two wrestle forever. So I'm excited to see if down the road, once Kimberly is elevated, that they have another program that's longer and feud and thought out, because they're money. I know it. The pairing, just like Jordan and Deonna. Are we including that? Jordan coming back down?
I was just about to go on to that.
I'll pass it to you, but with Jordan, sling thing was, a thing. And I get the point. But I think it's time they do something different with Jordan's personality or character. So I'm hoping I see that. But Deonna is gold. Kimberly is great. Looking was solid. Thumbs up for me.
Yeah, agreed. On the Jordan Grace thing, I think it's just a good way to set up the rematch and then eventually move on.
Right.
So, yeah, thumbs up for both because did what it needed to do. Just great way to transition, yes. So,
What do you, real quick, do you think that Jordan stays the Jordan we're used to, or smile and pose, or do you think she's becoming more aggressive? Like I said before, I would love to see Deanna and her pair together. They bond by their respect for each other, but are heels or something of that nature. She needs something to,
yeah, it's definitely, I feel like a character change coming for Jordan.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, there's something in the works there.
Yeah.
So then just very, very short, quick 5-second segment with Ken Shamrock saying that he's going home. Don't know what's next for him. Onto that. Just again for continuity to make sure we cover all bases. Then, obviously, in that quick segment with Sammy and Shamrock, Katie Forbes and RVD were going to the ring, and again Sammy was teasing, saying setting up something. Then it came to the Katie Forbes revealing her new website for $3.99.
5, yay, 4. I don't know how many times I have to say this. I know we talked about it in the chat, so Robbie, forgive me. I think that's who dislikes the segments. They're gold.
Agreed.
And look, RVD is a name. He can't escape the name. He can't escape the fact that he's not the 25-year-old guy that you remember doing all the moves. But what he can do right now is entertain the hell out of me. And does that go to him or does it go to Katie Forbes? I give it more to Katie Forbes. But it feels like RVD is comfortable, happy, and content with being the character and the side piece to his, and I think maybe that's what he needed in real life, or I don't know him, but you would assume like him taking a backup role to somebody, which is pretty rare for RVD in his career, because he's always, the show. For him to take a step back, for his partner there to get a lot of the shine and be the comedic genius, if not by design or whatever else that she is, it's just funny shit, man. And would it be as funny if she was on her own? No, it would still be funny. But there's something about RVD just going, like it's just like, oh yeah, like agree. And the only part I didn't like, and I know it sucks, is the Sammy part of it. Just because I thought if this is a big reveal for Katie, who has done a lot more on Twitch, which I know we can't get banned, or we got banned for. It would have been nice if maybe, like, and it sounds perverted, but if they were a little more risque and then his face were on other parts of her to give the illusion that they were super risky.
Right.
The only reason I say that is because her reaction at the end was fucking genius. Just the things she was saying, she knew what she was doing. She's not doing this isn't by chance. She was slamming her. I work so hard. But maybe that's part of why it's funny, because she didn't work hard on those photos. She just took a bunch of damn photos in a bathing suit or whatever. And it is what it is. But that's the only gripe I would give, is that it didn't feel as important as it was meant to feel like. But the segment was so fucking genius that I don't even care. I could watch Katie Forbes cry over spilled milk for forever. I could.
Yeah. Completely agree. It's pure gold.
Pure gold. I forgot the line that she said. She goes, "There is no consoling me," or something like that.
RVD's reaction to it all, and Katie just losing her damn mind.
It's great. It's great.
Sammy with the "I'm so pretty."
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. The whole segment was good.
Yeah.
That would be my only gripe, but I give it a huge thumbs up. Once
Agreed.
again, Impact is nailing the development of characters and keeping them in the same tone that they should be in. No one's being thrown in places that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing
that was
else can be said on that. It's pure gold.
Yeah. Since we bunched really quick, not to keep going, but the segments backstage for her and Sammy, I also like those as well. For her not to know that he was a heavyweight champion. Anyway, sorry. Thumbs up.
Yeah. Then there's a segment which I always enjoy, the Treehouse. But on this episode, some people say it was slightly overdone with the comedy with that segment, which maybe I agree with, but I don't know.
Do you agree with that if you watched it by itself, that you wouldn't think it's good, or do you just think because it was too much in an episode that it felt like overkill?
Yeah, I think it did pile a lot in there comedy wise, and it did slightly overdo it. Maybe the Rascal should be in Wrestle House, maybe.
Wrestle.
Be in the loft. Yeah, be in the loft. Maybe. But
so I agree with you. I don't want to give it a thumbs down. I'll give it in the middle. Because on its own, it's a funny little thing. It pushes the mind and character. And Max and I had mentioned on the podcast that what was next for the Rascals. You wrote that question.
Yeah.
They need something to not make them different, because I actually like who they are, but they needed to get back in that treehouse and show people who are now watching what their characters are. So for that reason, it's a thumbs up. But in this show that's so filled with chuckles and winks and laughs, could it have been saved for next week? Maybe, but who knows what's next. So I'm in the middle with it, not because of the segment itself, but just because of the timing of the segment in the show.
Yeah. I can't, it's not in me to give it anything less than an almost thumbs up. I can't go halfway, but almost there.
I'm fair. That's fair.
I love the Rascals and everything they do. Suicide was hilarious.
It was good.
I swear I know who Suicide is. It's Caleb Connolly. Because he was on Ethan Page's vlog whilst also filming at the last set of tapings. It's Caleb Connolly. It has to be.
It is. He was
the hair.
Yeah,
it has to be.
It was him before when he was with the company, and I'm pretty sure now it's him again. I've seen him wrestle for quite a bit in the States. He down south lived in Virginia a long time. He was big and still is in North Carolina and in that region. So got to see him quite a few times. Just the movement. I think it's him.
It has to be.
But I don't want him to unmask. I like Suicide being Suicide, and he fills a need there as far as comic relief, but also mysterious. You could do a lot with that character if you need, and he's called upon. But I love the segment. I agree with you there. In between, love the Power Ranger wink. Even though he should have been a Green Ranger, they should have changed him or something. But it was good on its own.
Yeah. Before we move on with this Suicide, it doesn't feel the same to me. He doesn't have that same, I want to say, almost mystique that from the TJP Suicide that I first saw. Didn't quite feel the same, but I think it's personal preference. But still missing, I think.
Continuity-wise, no, because originally in the video game it was Loki's voice, and he was very dark and mysterious, and then it was Daniels and Kazarian going off back and forth. So it was very similar to the video game. Now no one has played that video game in a fucking decade.
I
If
played
they,
it like months ago.
oh, did you really? It's the shits. Visually nice, but so many kinks they didn't work out.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it's a different Suicide, but it's such a unique character that you can easily, if you need him to be back to being mysterious or the mystique of him, you could do it. So.
Just needs to pull the mask down. You can see
Oh
his
yeah,
name. Just pull it down to get in.
yeah. I'm glad they updated the suit with the studs and the leather and the rip. But yeah, that gap, wear a turtleneck.
Then a Skype interview with Rich Swann giving an update on his injury. Again, it's more focused on next week.
Yeah,
that's where we need to focus on really. But yeah, thumbs up. Just for the sake of it, thumbs up.
it's hard because individually all these segments were pretty good. It's just when you have such a show where you're trying to tell stories and get people interested or keep them interested, now that you have new viewership, it felt kind of like beating a dead horse, trying to get everyone fit, to fit in that 2 hour or hour 24-minute time. So it's not their fault. It's the segments or the wrestlers. It's producers kind of fitting a lot into such a small episode. But it served its purpose. I don't know where it goes. The only thing I could think of is he gets angry at Willie, but for not helping him out. But we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
They could have done it, honestly, as a precautious measure to say if something happens, unfortunately, in the match, we have it out for him to be explained if he gets injured again. I don't know. Just weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many people who needed to be on TV. It's only a 2-hour show, hour and 40 minutes without the ad breaks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then main event, the Good Brothers making their official debut against Reno Scum. I like the match. It was good enough. Maybe not could have got from them. It felt like there was something missing. Like the main focus was clearly on Ace Austin. It took away a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
With it being more of a gimmicky or a storytelling match in a different way, not the match, but storytelling to progress the storyline.
Yeah.
It took away from what could have been a great main event, or at least above average, which I think the show really needed to end on because of all the comedy. I know we had the championship match at first, and it was good, and then we had the women's match, and it was good. But it could have been a bookend to really help solidify that this is a wrestling company. But it did its job. Obviously the Good Brothers were the focus, but yes, their focus was on Ace and the continuation of that. I'm not a huge fan of Reno Scum. I like them this run with Ace. I think that makes a lot of sense. I like that version of them. And I think they're good hands. So they serve their purpose when it comes to being the first people fed to the Good Brothers. But other than that, is what it is. I don't want to give it a thumbs up, but I'll give it a thumbs up just because it did its job. It did what it was supposed to do, and you can't take that away from it.
Yeah, thumbs up. For me, Reno Scum, I like them, but they were in the company beforehand. They were in the company a while back. Then Thorne still got injured.
Yeah.
But during that time, the UK TV deal had ended, so it was only on it was a TNA app then, which then got transferred to GWN and then became Impact Plus. So I didn't see a lot of Reno Scum in the beginning, and people were very, very high on them, for what I could tell, when they first came in.
The company was?
Yeah, and some fans were as well.
Well, I think the company was because Jeff Jarrett owed them from GFW days. He gave them, an opportunity because of that. maybe they deserve it. I didn't like how they were portrayed then. I think it was rough for me. I think the fans were split 50-50, primarily because they were doing the oi oi punk rock gimmick,
Yeah.
but were faces. And
Oh, okay.
at first, the hardest thing for me get over as a face is, do I need to have similarities to the face? No. To like them? No. They could be something that I think is cool, but unfortunately that punk rock scene isn't as common as it is to some of us. So it's hard to relate to a group that's coming out there and putting people in their armpits and listening to punk rock that maybe some people don't enjoy. I enjoy it. So I do enjoy them. I'm not the huge fan. I think they can have some more tweaking, but I think they've come a long way. And, it's a good opportunity for them to find their place and impact.
Right, yeah. If with enough build, I'm sure they can eventually be tag team champions if they're given the time.
Yeah, it's timing, and that is the scary part of all this is, as exciting it is to bring all these free agents in and all this stuff, we have a lot of talent now. So where this talent goes, can they keep fitting them in like they have? They're doing a great job of it, but we're also seeing the outcome being a lot of hands in the same episode. So
yeah, I mean, it didn't start well for Reno Scum for me. With being with Ace Austin didn't feel right, and then up and down. No, it didn't. I wasn't a big fan of it now because I wanted Reno Scum to
Nevada connection.
State. I know, but something didn't sit right with me. I guess I just wanted them to be like a dominant tag team and not be Ace Austin's lackeys.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. But maybe that's how they view them, compared to them not being up there yet. Is they need something to get over first. But we'll see where they go with that. But as far as Good Brothers, I think we need to obviously mention that. Glad they're together. Love the music. Don't know if it fits the face characters, but I'm interested to see where it goes with them. I love their interview. If you guys haven't checked it out, go look at Gary Cassidy's with Sportskeeda. Yeah, his art interview with them. They're an Impact, and they want Impact to succeed, so they're doing everything to recruit what they can. So I'm excited to have them on board. I hope they're continuously treated like stars, which it seems like they will be. But they need to figure out what they're going to be, and I'm interested to see. I think they already know, but I'm excited to see how we get there. Because the camouflage gimmick and stuff isn't really. It's kind of the Deaners thing, right?
Yeah. Gallows looks fine, but Carl Anderson for me in those shorts.
He looked like he just went shopping at Old Navy. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like panicked and needed some ring gear, and then bought the first thing he could find. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with Gary Cassidy. Fantastic article always, and if they can get obviously we went into a little bit on the podcast, if it can be a new working relationship with New Japan, and if they can bring AJ Styles back in, holy shit.
There's one, so I feel in my heart of hearts that everything's in line, and I'm gonna save my conspiracy theory for for episode 19 of the podcast.
Yeah.
But even though this doesn't have anything to do with what went down, I do want to mention this. They mentioned an interesting name. It wasn't just AJ of who they wanted to recruit there, and they mentioned Finn. So time will tell. But the interesting part of it is these guys who are now in our main event scene, which has been, besides Sammy to me, has been a lot of, not lackluster, a lot of people who, as I've mentioned before on the podcast, and maybe here, I don't remember, it always felt like they give the title to the people, thank you, goodbye, thank you for doing it. this feels like they're finally giving the spotlight to a pair of guys or women in different, Deanna and different, that want to be there, that want to make this company succeed, don't want it to be number 3, don't want it to be number 2, want it to be number 1 in the world. And they're shooting their shot. So I'm happy to see that. I don't want to do the show and keep giving thumbs up every week because I want to be unbiased and fair. Yeah. But right now, it feels like they're hitting all the right notes, with the only issue being time. How do you fit all that in? Once they figure that out, if it's a second show or not, it doesn't matter. We're complaining about things that are good, which is a good place to be.
Right. Feels like that turning point.
Turning point. Speaking of that, I guess we could wrap up on that. So go back. Thank you for watching this. I'll let you say your goodbyes, but just to get a couple plugs in there. Episode 18, excuse me, of the pod talking nonsense about Impact Wrestling podcast. Turning Point is up, and it's our feelings after Slammiversary and where it goes from there. We'll be continuing to do this show weekly, which I'm very excited about, because obviously Impact is in a great place right now. And then what else do we have going on? Well, we can't announce it yet because we have some details to work out, but we're going to have a big golden ticket giveaway coming. So we're very excited about that. Stay tuned for that. And I think what we can end on, besides what we'll do, let the power rankings play, and I'll throw it to you, is what's the favorite part of the episode? What's your 5-star of the night?
Yeah, the moment of the week for me, Katie Forbes' website reveal. Russell House is so close to being second. That is like a fingernail between them in my list. But I have to give it to Katie Forbes and Sammy and RVD. Yours?
When history plays back, people go back and watch this episode in history, or excuse me, when you talk about this 2 years down the road, what will last in people's mind is Wrestle House. It's going to be that. But the thing that has resonated with me and I was most excited to talk to you about was Katie Forbes' reaction.
Yeah,
it's just feels right and natural, and I don't even care if it leads to a match. It obviously will, but I could watch her all day. We need to get her on the show. We need to get her on the show.
Oh. If anyone can just tweet this to Katie Forbes saying we want her on the show. Anyone,
we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, something we have to do.
I wrote it on my notes.
Once it's written, it should be done. There we go. It's written down.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you there. Thumbs up for the episode.
Yep.
Excited to see where the power rankings put the people in places.
Yeah. See who ends up where.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you all for tuning in again. Impact was a pleasure to watch and a pleasure talking about it. You can hit subscribe here to make sure you don't miss out on anything that's coming up. Find us on Twitter at TNAW Podcast. Find the rest of us, both of us, around there. You'll see us retweeting some other things. We're around there somewhere. If you agree with our reviews, if you don't, you know what the comments are, give us a shout. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, everyone.